Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. My name is Derek, and today I'm joined by Karen,
As usual.
as usual. And we're going to be discussing what's happening on GH this week. Tommy will roll the credits, and we will get right into it. All right, so it was a decent week, I would say. There were some great developments, and
Some ups and some downs, though.
there were a couple downs. Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about it, but All right, well, we'll start with Molly, Christina, and Alexis. Christina and Molly confront Alexis about the commitment papers. Molly tells her that her and Diane's files got mixed up. Did they get mixed up? We're not sure. We'll see. Alexis wants to speak to Christina alone, but Molly refuses to leave. Alexis claims that she noted Christina's progress the night of their movie night, and she decided against it. Christina is livid, though, and storms out. Christina goes to the baby's grave and confesses to the baby how much she messed up and that she almost killed Rick and Liz. Molly arrives, and I hated this scene because Christina says she doesn't want to lose the only sister she has left. And I said, well, what about Donna and Avery? I guess they don't matter.
No, they're not Davis sisters, so screw them, I guess.
I don't know. I was like, I guess you forgot you had two other sisters, but okay.
I guess she means adult sisters. Who knows? Christina just says that stuff to guilt people. She doesn't. I don't think she ever really means it.
Yeah, and I didn't like the scene because if Molly knew what she had done, then she would not be.
She'd be on Alexis's side.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, Molly should never forgive Christina for what she did, but it's a soap.
There are a lot of times on this show where somebody forgives somebody. Cough, cough. Michael forgiving Sonny, where it just becomes. You realize it's for the plot, but it's not realistic at all. It's not. And in this case, Molly, I guess it's a little realistic because she is used to being shoved down in favor of the other sisters. She literally shoved all of her crap down and was like, it's okay that Christina stole my baby, ruined my relationship, stepped all over my entire life, and then got into a crazy fight with Ava and lost the baby because she's dumb. That's fine because I need a sister because my other one's dead. And it's like, what the hell, Molly? Get therapy.
Exactly. All right. So meanwhile, Alexis has mailed the dagger that was from Sidwell. So I don't know what was up with that. That was an interesting development.
I know, because there was a weird scenario where he got her fingerprints all over the dagger.
Yeah.
And now he's giving it back to her. So
yeah.
He needs her to have it before he does something.
Right.
So he could say it was, he didn't have it. I don't know what's going on. Some kind of murder is afoot, I think.
Yeah, I'm wondering what he has planned. It's going to be interesting to figure.
I don't know. He's delightful.
Yeah. Okay, so in LA, Carly informs Jason that Sonny is going to be fine via the phone. Sonny is about to get injected with something by the assassin in his IV.
And I got very excited.
You were very excited. I'm sure.
So disappointed.
So Brick comes in and saves the day and asks for her ID, and we see her that she's about to pull out a weapon, but Brick quickly fires and shoots her down.
Well, how did Brick get a gun like that with a big old silencer into the hospital? How did that work?
Yeah.
Who did he bribe to get in? You must know security. Security must have been paid for by Mr. Corinthos because that was a big gun. So also, how did the nurse get the gun in? Who's bribing all these guards? These guards are making out like gangbusters.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Sonny nods off. When he looks at the assassin, then Sonny nods off, and then the assassin's laying on the bottom of the bed, dead, and he falls asleep.
This poor woman, Brick didn't even go for a disabling shot. He was just murder. And now they're not going to be able to talk to her and see what she knows.
Yeah, find out who sent her. Yeah. So Sonny's in a dreamlike state, and he's at Kelly's, not Bobby's. And
making that distinction.
Yeah. And he sees his dad, Mike. Mike says it was a good opportunity to visit him, since he just had the surgery. He does tell Mike that he should have gotten out of the business a long time ago. Sonny tells him that Michael got caught in the crossfire and it can never happen again. So it was nice to see Mike. It was
Was great to see him. I loved it. The only thing that I think is like the way how like General Hospital always kind of has ghosts. Like there's always ghosts showing up, and you always wonder, are they real or are they a delusion? I
yeah,
think that this Mike was definitely a delusion because he just agreed with Sonny's point of view on everything. And that was never what Mike did. So I feel like this was like Sonny's own subconscious being like, hey, everything you did was fine, even though it was horrible. But now
yeah,
you should probably stop before other people get hurt.
yeah,
But like you were totally justified because you're my son and you're totally justified. And I'm like, come on.
yeah, absolutely. So Brick calls someone to remove the body. She is literally, like I said, she's literally like right, like
Over
all
top
over.
of the body.
Yeah, right on top of Sunny's like legs almost.
Nobody even pushed her off, be like, kick her
Right.
off.
Yeah. Carly
Good
comes
thing
in
he's
and sees what
unconscious.
happens and she freaks out. Brick tells her to relax. Uh, so in walks Brennan, and apparently Brennan called the WSB, and he just kind of appeared out of nowhere.
I love that for him.
Yeah, it was a little suspicious.
No, I just love that about him. I think he should always just appear and disappear like randomly, like magic.
Yeah,
It was fun. He
but
was probably there to protect Carly from whatever was going after
yeah,
Sonny.
he says it was a coincidence. And he was on his way to LA for a meeting anyway. But I think
Sure,
he had more to do
Jan.
with Carly. But yeah, sure.
He loves Carly and he knows that Sonny's got people trying to kill him, so he was keeping an eye on her.
Yeah,
And the situation, because I think if it had worked out that Sonny got murdered, I don't think that Jack would have cared very much.
no, he
As
was.
long as Carly wasn't injured, he's fine with it.
Yes.
Me too. Sorry, Maurice Bernard, who I love.
Yeah. Tracy and Gio talk about Sonny. Tracy tells him that he should think twice about standing by Sonny. Tracy wants to take Sonny down. Tracy tells Gio she doesn't want him exposed to that danger. Emma arrives and Tracy continues on and on about how much Sonny has hurt Port Charles and her family. Jason walks in on this conversation, and Gio and Emma both speak up in Sonny's defense. Emma tells her that she owes her one for helping her save the crypt, and Tracy gets an idea to get Drew's help. She calls Drew while he's with Portia, which we'll get to in a little bit. Emma is outraged that Tracy would align herself with Drew again. Tracy says, "Don't forget to tell Gio about what he did to your brother, to Jason." Which is great. You and I messaged about this because we're big AJ fans. So.
Yeah, super AJ fans. We actually went and rewatched AJ's murder.
Yes.
When he was shot, and it's even more horrific than I remembered.
And it's not what Sonny said. AJ was literally begging him not to shoot him.
His hands were up.
He's not defending Ava. It was.
Well, he did. Like, okay, so the scene is that AJ's being framed for Connie's murder.
Yes.
He did not do it. He had nothing to do with it. And he gets into it with Ava and he does put his hands around her throat. But when Sonny comes into the room, he backs off and puts his hands up and tries to explain himself. And Sonny shoots him while he's standing there unarmed.
Yeah.
Unarmed. He had no weapons on him at all.
No.
And it was clear and obvious that he didn't have any weapons. And Sonny just decided to murder him anyway.
And Sonny claims that he was saving Ava's life, which is bullshit.
Sure, because he was totally not armed at all and not even touching her at the time of his death.
Yes.
I mean, Ava did orchestrate all of that because my girl does terrible things and I love her, but
yeah, she did.
He still shouldn't have shot him.
Yeah. Rip AJ.
He went to prison for that, by the way. He was convicted. There's no gray area on that. He murdered AJ. He went to prison, and under some stupid thing where like he helped the governor or something, he got released, and it was horrible. And I was just like, what's the point? What is the point in putting him in prison?
There was no point. He was literally in jail for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And poor Nicholas has been in jail for how long now, and he didn't really even do anything except be a Cassadine.
Make it make sense. Emma leaves, and Jason tells Gio that Sonny killed AJ, which we just talked about. And he says, I choose to believe Sonny.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason. I want Jason to find out that Sonny's been lying all these years. I want to know what he thinks about that, if that ever happens.
I don't think it'll ever happen. And even if it did, he chose to believe Sonny. I think that Jason knows it's not the way Sonny said it happened, but it like messes up his worldview too much to accept it. But he does say, he's like, Monica and the Quartermains. I love how he distinguishes his mother first and then the Quartermains. He's like, Monica and the Quartermains believe something different. Yeah, Monica and the Quartermains believe the truth, and you believe your best friend.
Yeah. Okay, so Brad hands Portia the files with Drew's entire medical history, including the time he was Jake Doe. Portia tells Brad that she needs her to get her ketamine. He says, "Good for you. I didn't know you wrote that way." Brad had some really great lines. That was one of them.
Parry Shen is always so perfect with the comedic timing, especially when he was like, "This new arrangement, it sucks." I was like, I love him.
Yeah, that was the other one. This arrangement sucks.
Yeah, are like some of my favorite scenes whenever they're together, because like I want them to eventually become kind of like real friends. Right now, they're just like partners in crime reluctantly who continuously are going back and forth on who is blackmailing who, and I love that for them.
Yeah. So Brad does what he's told, and he delivers the ketamine to Portia. Portia calls Nina and tells her that she has the ketamine, and they are ready to drug Drew. Drew then storms into Portia's office. He wants multiple pieces written to badmouth Sonny in what paper does Curtis, or is it Aurora? Aurora.
It's Aurora. Yeah, Aurora Media.
Aurora, whatever paper Aurora publishes. I'm not sure what that is.
He'd be better off going to the Invader. Yeah. They would do it for nothing. You could give them $5 and that squirrely guy.
Yeah, there are other outlets, Drew, that you don't have. Why do you have to use Aurora?
It could be the Sun in Landview. Like, he has options, and he just wants to needle Portia forever.
Mm-hmm.
He feels like Portia just goes home and like tells Curtis what to do on the daily, and like Curtis is his own person. He makes his own decisions.
Portia even like, Curtis don't listen to me. He does what he wants.
Yeah, she's like, he hates you, Drew. He's not going to listen to me, and if I'm too nice about you, he's gonna get suspicious. And he's like, I don't care. Do what I want you to do. And it's the same lines that Drew always says in that scenario.
Yeah, and Portia even tells Drew that Curtis isn't gonna go against Laura. So
they're like besties,
right? And Drew still continues to threaten her. This is what he wants, and this is what he's going to get. But he gets a phone call from Tracy, and he heads to meet her at the Port Charles Grill.
Yeah, we're at the Port Charles Grill a lot these days. It's always like one restaurant gets popular, and then they all go to it for a while. I guess they only have 3 restaurants in town, and they just rotate around.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So Drew and Tracy meet at the Port Charles Grill. Tracy wants to help him fight and take down Sonny. Drew has a price. He wants the Quartermain name back. Tracy says fine as long as the referendum vote passes. Meanwhile, Jacinda arrives. Jacinda. I still can't get over that name.
I love it. I think it's great. I think she just like threw a dart at a board. She was like, how do I pick my sex worker name? And she just threw it at a board, and she's like, Jay. And then instead of picking Jamie, she went with Jacinda.
Right. Okay, so I'm sorry. Jacinda arrives at Nina's place. She gives her the vial of ketamine, and she finds out from Portia that Drew is on his way to the Port Charles Grill, and Jacinda knows exactly what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So at the Port Charles Grill, Drew orders an old fashioned, and Jacinda sits at the bar. She easily has access to Drew's drink. She texts Nina and tells her it's done. She has drugged the ketamine in his old fashioned.
Did you cheer when he took that big swig of it?
Yes.
I was like, yes.
He really wanted that to go down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was dealing with Tracy.
Well, yeah.
I did like that Tracy was like, yeah, you can be a Quartermain when you've earned it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard in the Quartermain clan. You don't just get to
And it's
join.
funny because it was funny when Drew was like going on and on about how much he's looking forward to Sonny's downfall, like over and over, as like as he's starting to get drugged.
It's also funny that I don't think Tracy's going to hold to that bargain at all. She's not going to let him have the Quartermain name. No way.
No, she's gonna use him to get what she wants, and then she's like, "I never said that."
Yeah, Quartermains use business to get what they want.
Yeah, exactly. So Tracy leaves, and then Jacinda approaches him. Jacinda flirts with him, and then she's like, "So, is there anywhere else we can go and have a good time?" And then Drew's like, "Yes!" And then he takes her to the Savoy, where he is banned by Curtis. But of
He's
course,
immediately flirty though. Like even
he
when he
is.
wasn't, the drugs hadn't had enough time to take effect yet. I'm sure it would take a couple minutes, right? It's not like you
It
drink it
wasn't
and
that
then
long, no. So yeah,
and then like he was already like, I guess you can sit with me. And he was flirting with her pretty hardcore very early on.
yeah.
And then it
Uh,
gets worse.
I also love when he downed the rest of his drink like in one sip as he right before they left. That was really funny.
I love that they just gave Jacinda ketamine and nobody said, give him half or give him whole of it. Like nobody said anything. They're just like, put this in his drink. I'm like, how much ketamine was in that?
It was a whole vial. It was like,
A whole vial, right? Like a whole vial. And that was like
yeah,
medical grade ketamine. Why isn't he dead? Like, I
right,
don't understand. He drank that a whole drink.
yeah. So we're at the Savoy now, and Drew arrives fucked up. And he makes a damn fool out of himself.
I
And it's so
enjoyed
much
this
fun.
very much. It was very funny. And like he was like throwing the girl on the bar and like kissing down her stomach. And he
Oh
was
my god.
absolutely a spectacle in front of everyone, in front of Lulu.
Lulu's there snapping photos. She's like, I have the breaking story for tomorrow. She's all
Yeah, she
excited.
took video. She wasn't playing
Yeah.
around.
Jordan tries to get Drew to leave with her because of her. Now she works with Sidwell. She's on.
I
Drew's
was yelling at the TV. I'm like, no, Jordan, get out of there.
Well, luckily Portia
Stop it.
stopped her, which was great. She's like, no, let him do his thing. And Curtis also wanted to throw him out, and of course she's like, no, honey, he's humiliating himself. This is fun. Let's watch.
Yeah, Portia's like, free dinner show. Shut up. Watch. Watch
Right?
him ruin his whole career. You hate this guy. This is what you're waiting for.
Hmm.
Me too. Enjoy.
And I also love when Portia like called Nina and said, "This is turning out better than we ever hoped." So fun.
Great. It was really funny.
So next morning, Willow comes home and Drew's passed out in his bed, and I think she called him or texted him and said that she was home, and just send it downstairs, and then
He's in the shower.
she's in the shower, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Or in
She-
their bed. I don't know. It was like kind of like she was off screen.
yeah,
And it focused on Drew and then she kind of walked into frame.
right, yeah. Well, anyway, Will finds her there, and she's not too pleased to see her.
Willow says in our bed later on, so I wonder if she walked into the bedroom and
Right.
that's where they were.
Yeah, Willow is not happy about this at all, and she and Drew have a confrontation. Drew says he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't know who this woman is.
He's immediately doing spin on the situation because he realizes he's lost control.
Yeah, and that Drew does not like to lose control at all.
Yeah.
And he realizes he doesn't have his holdover either, and that really pisses him off.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that too. So after they have it out, Willow heads to Nina's, where Nina is having regrets about this. She feels horrible that she put her.
Nina,
Yeah, she has.
you slept with that man. You should have just told her that.
Yeah, but I get it though. I know you don't want to hurt your daughter, but still, like you did what you thought was best for her. So.
Early on, when they first started making eyes at each other, and she had a suspicion, she should have been like, "Is he flirting with you? Because we just banged on the floor of my office. He's really scummy." But no, it's always like you wait too long, and then you're like, "No, I can't tell anybody
It
anything."
always takes too long, and then it's too late.
She has two modes: either act right now, no thought, just vibes, or don't act because you've overthought it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Carly has the same two modes.
Yeah. Well, everybody's talking about Drew.
Of course they are.
Alexis went to Drew to take Scout out of there. I love that. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Lulu's covering the story, as we mentioned. Jacinda tells Nina and Portia everything went great, and she's sent off to, I think, get the Australian Outback, I think they said, and then she's hightailing it out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Drew goes to see Willow at Nina's apartment, and he insists that something's wrong. He's asked her if she's ever known him to act like that way or drink too much. She said no. Drew insists that he was drugged, and this is where Nina's plan is flawed because Willow is starting to believe Drew.
I also think Nina protested too hard early on. It kind of made her seem guilty. Like the way she was like coming at Drew just felt a little, I don't know. I don't think she handled the scene as well as somebody else would have, Carly.
Yeah.
Carly would have known how to dig in there without exposing herself. And I think Nina's just not as good at this kind of thing.
Nina's not as experienced in this area as
She's not. She's used to just going crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about Kai and Trina. Kai is going to go ahead with the surgery. Trina's still very worried about him, and she doesn't think it's a good idea, but she's going to support him no matter what. I feel like Emma's been a pretty good friend to Trina. I really like. Yeah, I think she's. I like their friendship. The documentary guy that Drew hired is filming them as they start this journey. Jocelyn and Emma are at GH to support Trina as Kai goes in for surgery. Trina has a moment with Kai before he goes in. And yeah, I hope he comes out alive.
I keep wondering if he's going to die in surgery. I'm very worried about this kid.
I know.
Because they said the mortality rate on this thing was like, what, 1 in 2? It was not good.
Yeah, it was not good odds.
And the recovery was bad. That's why Portia was so against the surgery. She's like, the odds are just not good.
Yeah.
So if he comes out, he could be paralyzed or he could be killed.
Yeah, I also love that Laura showed up to comfort Trina. That was awesome.
I love that Trina kind of moved into Laura's space and then just kind of cuddled up to her. And I'm like, I love that they're still close.
Yeah, that was really sweet. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about your favorite person, Vaughn and Jocelyn and Emma and Dalton, and this whole crazy convoluted story that has so many plot holes and weird things. I don't even know where to start.
I don't like Vaughn. I think later, Friday, today's episode, because we're filming Friday. Today's episode is the most I've seen Vaughn do that wasn't annoying. Everything Vaughn does just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like the way he talks to Jocelyn. I don't like the way they're running this, but it's so funny because, again, Eric and I watched 1983 for fun. We do this, and then we just keep watching GH for fun. And the Russian storyline back then with the WSB has a lot of the same kind of ideas with the agents yelling at each other, but it was more the Russian agents were having the same conversations that Jocelyn's having with Vaughn, and that gives me a weird feeling about it all.
Yeah.
Is this WSB or is this what is it? What is the other one? The DVX. The DVX.
Yeah.
Or KGB.
So Trina and Emma are talking. Dalton approaches them and wants to talk to Emma privately. Dalton wants to help her land the research assistant position. Emma continues to suck up to him. Then Gio texts her and she goes to meet him at the Quartermain Mansion, which we talked about earlier. Vaughn approaches Joss and spews the same shit he always does.
Yeah.
It's the same 5 lines.
Yep, same conversation. I feel like Joss feels the same way we do because every time she talks to him, she's like, can you just give me the information you need to give me and stop being annoying?
Yeah. You got to do this and you got to do this and you got to make sure this happens. And
yeah, but who's the spy that keeps showing up in areas he's not supposed to be to say something dumb to Jocelyn and then leave? Shouldn't they be having clandestine meetings, not him showing up in public areas to see her?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know about this Vaughn guy.
Yeah. Professor Dalton flirts with Anna at the bar. That's fun.
He also flirted with Emma earlier on. It
Right,
still
that's her
feels like
grandmother.
something
Like,
happened between them.
weird, weird.
Yeah.
Jocelyn watches them, and Dalton wants Anna's number, but she refuses. Good for her.
He tried twice because he said, "Give me your number and you can be my tour guide in Port Charles." And she goes, "I'm not much of a tour guide."
Right.
And then he's like, "Well, give me your number and maybe we can meet to eat or something." And she's like, "Port Charles is a small town. I'm pretty sure you'll run into me." And then she just kind of leaves.
Yeah.
By the way, wasn't that really weird because she was supposed to be meeting with Felicia and
Jordan.
and
Yeah.
Jordan. Jordan was there. Why did she never talk to Jordan and then just leave?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It seems like she was like, "Oh, Felicia's not here." Are Jordan, Felicia, and Anna the kind of friends that like Felicia and Anna are friends, and then Felicia and Jordan are friends, but Jordan and Anna aren't friends, so they can't hang out? Because it doesn't seem
No,
like that.
I think they're all friends.
Then why didn't she go up to Jordan? That was
I
so
don't know.
weird.
It was weird. Yeah. All right. So then Joss sees her opportunity and sits with Dalton after Anna leaves. Jocelyn expresses her interest in the research assistant position. Dalton says that's not going to happen because he's already handpicked Emma, which he
Yeah.
doesn't say, but we know. Um, so I don't. Emma and Anna have a talk later. Anna notes the coincidence that Jocelyn and Emma started at PCU at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And Anna says she doesn't believe in coincidences, and then Emma admits that she got into Dalton's class intentionally. So
Yes, and apparently the project she's working on now that she's got,
mhm.
she started in California and needed to finish to get into his research program. And
Right.
they also seem to be very chummy with each other. I don't know. I feel like they had an affair, an
Yeah,
inappropriate affair.
I agree. Something's up with that. Let's see. Emma's finished her assignment for her research and job, and she puts it on a flash drive. What year is this? Like, who
Um,
still uses flash drives? That's my question.
me,
Do
me,
you?
but I do graphic work.
Well, that's different. But like for
Yeah,
like in college, like you don't really use flash drives. I don't think. But
I was just in college, and I can say no, we don't.
yeah,
No, we don't.
but like
We
in real,
actually print stuff out like it's 1995, or you email it to your professor as a PDF.
yeah, or you save it to the cloud.
We didn't really use the cloud that much, like
Okay.
because you emailed it to the professor. We had a program called Canvas that you could upload it into. Everybody right now, a whole bunch of college students went, "Ugh, Canvas."
Okay. I just thought it was kind of weird that she was using.
It's weird that she would put her whole program on a flash drive and then instead of
Mhm.
handing it in, stuff it in the pocket of her shorts. It seems like a very teenager thing to do, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I think it's that belief that nothing could ever go wrong, and you're just like, "Come on, man.
Yeah.
Why? Why wouldn't you drop it off? It's done. Drop it off immediately." But Jocelyn finds out about the program and she sees this as her opportunity to jump ahead. So
Hmm.
she's planning on what? Swapping it, stealing it? I don't understand what she's doing. Is she just taking it so
We'll
Emma
get to
doesn't
that
have it?
later. Yeah, I know what she's doing.
Okay, where then you tell me later.
Yeah. Well, it happened on Friday's episode. She kind of had
Yeah, on Friday. I can yeah, I just watched it. I know what she did, but I don't know if she was doing it,
yeah.
why she was doing it. Like in what capacity? Like was she stealing it for herself or was she just trying to get Emma
She
dropped?
was switching it with a corrupted.
I know that, but I
Yeah.
don't but you
Uh,
see what I'm saying? Like
oh, she could
did
have turned it in herself. Yeah, we don't know that yet. Yeah, we don't know that yet. Yeah.
that's
Okay.
what I'm saying. Like, is that the
Yeah.
plan? It seems weird. Like
I
some
would
of the
hope not,
plans on
'cause
the show are
that's
just
really
yeah,
bad
it's
news.
terrible.
Yeah, I would
But
hope
she knows she's doing it because she basically tells Vaughn that she knows she's screwing over her friend to make it happen.
yeah.
And they're not even really friends yet. So this is I don't know. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean, that's not cool.
Still feels more DVX than WSB in my opinion,
Yeah, I agree with that.
at least in the 80s.
So we're back in LA. Sunny finds Brendan in his room. Sunny is grateful to him, which was kind of weird.
He didn't die. So
for helping him because he didn't die. Brennan tells Carly that Sunny is awake and wants to see her. Sunny tells Carly to go home and take care of Donna. So Carly's on her way back. Meanwhile, Brennan tells Jason, because Jason has arrived in LA, that the assassin was well known in the intelligence community and not someone that goes after mobsters.
right.
So there were some similarities with Selinsky, but they still don't know who is behind this new threat against Sunny. So I think Brennan knows, though. I think Brennan knows who it is. But
I think he has a suspicion he's probably investigating it. That's probably another reason why he was in LA. He's super smart and he doesn't show his cards. So, we'll find out eventually. And I'm hoping it'll be a cool reveal.
I do too. That would be fun.
Some of these reveals on this show, it's like we've known for 6 years, and it's not a cool reveal when that happens.
Yeah.
Like Gio, I feel like we're just waiting for an axe to fall. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory about that and speculation that we'll talk
about. Look at you teasing things for the speculation.
Yeah.
You guys can get in on the speculation over on the Patreon, but also you can post down below. Like if we get comments, Derek will answer quicker than me, but I will eventually respond.
Yes, and we were happy to share any speculation you want in the comments as well.
Or any questions or comments you have about storylines or thoughts in general. Like, did you like somebody this week? Did you hate somebody this week? Was watching Drew like fall apart hilarious for anybody other than me?
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
It was great. It was hilarious.
Cameron did a great job.
Yes. Jason visits with Sunny in the hospital, and Sunny tells him that it's time to get out of the business. Sunny asks Sunny what brought this on, and he says that Mike told him.
Mike told me in a dream. I feel like in Jason's mind, he's like, oh, Sunny's getting dementia. I guess we do have to get out of the mob.
Right. But Jason tells Sunny that they need to figure out who is going after him before they leave the mob. So,
also, wasn't Jason out of the mob this entire time? Because didn't he say he couldn't get back in because of Danny and he couldn't take over because of Danny? And then about a month ago, they just started writing him as Sunny's right-hand man again with no transition.
Yeah.
It was weird, and I don't like it.
Very weird. All right, well, let's talk about Lucas and Marco. This is one of my personal favorite moments this week. I think they're at a cafe. I'm not sure where they actually
are. Probably at the Port Charles Grill.
Yeah. Sidwell approaches them, and he's with Lucy. Sidwell introduces Lucy to his son. Lucas and Marco talk about their dads. Lucas tells them about Tony and Julian. And this is where this got me. Lucas says that Tony accepted him right away, but Bobby had a harder time because she didn't know how to protect him. And that was a lightning switch in my head with my own mother. So I was like, oh, yeah,
that's so sweet. I thought it was charming to mention Tony in such a positive light. I miss that they don't mention him so much anymore. He was wonderful. Brad Mall was great.
Yeah. It was just a great scene all around between the two of them. And
Marco. It also gave you more insight into Natalia. And I really loved how Marco handled telling the story about his relationship with his father, like he left his father, he was with his mother for most of his life. And then he comes out and she's just like, nope, terrible, awful. And he goes to his father, who he had very little relationship with. And Jen is a horrible person. He blows people up. He's a murderer. And he was just like, I don't care that you're gay. You're my son and I love you. And I'm like, well, all right. I love it. I love that for him.
Yeah, he's a tolerant man, but he's also a killer.
Listen, Ace has murdered people. She's not homophobic. So I guess it's fine.
Win. I guess that's a win.
You gotta take them where you can get them. And I do like that they have that huge contrast. And I think one of the reasons is because Natalia is so black and white in her views of the world and is so like, this is the only way to live. This is the only way to do things, which is why she had such a hard time with Blaze. And then Blaze comes out as gay and she's right back where she started from.
Right. And that's how Lucas puts the pieces together that Natalia's his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been tough.
Yeah.
Oh, your mom's that, Natalia.
And Lucy also points out that Natalia never mentioned having a son. I wonder why.
I don't know. It
Mm.
could be because he's gay and she's weird.
Yeah, we didn't
Homophobic.
see Natalia this weekend. I was very happy about that. I don't
Mm.
really need to see her again.
I keep telling you, they're speed running her villain arc because we just wouldn't get over it, which is a shame for Ava LaRue. Like, I think she's a really talented actress. It's just Natalia's just
Mhm.
she's just not likable where they've put her and how they've categorized her. Like, we're too far. Like, if you're not a villain, you can't be
Yeah,
spouting bigotry and crap.
right. Okay, so these are just little snippets I wanted to mention. I loved Curtis and Laura being really giddy over what happened to Drew. That was really funny. I also like the scene between Alexis and Lulu, where Lulu apologizes to her for breaking the story, and Alexis is like, "You don't need to apologize to me. I used to be a journalist. I get
Yeah,
it."
I ran the invader. I
Yeah.
know. You got to break it. Someone's going to break it.
Okay, so then this is where Lulu goes to Laura's office, and Laura praises Lulu for exposing Drew. And I want you to take this because you know a lot about the history of Laura. So,
Oh,
yeah, tell us.
what do you want to know?
Well, Laura told her story to Lulu about
Mhm.
her mom, her how
So
she had.
let me just tell you very shortly that Leslie had an affair when she was in college with her professor. That's
Mhm,
Martin Gray's father,
right.
and Cyrus. So like she had an affair, and when she had the baby, they switched the baby for a stillborn, the
Hmm.
parents. So
Right.
she didn't know that Laura was alive. And
Hmm.
she didn't find out about Laura until Laura was about, I think, 15, 14, 15. Like she was really young. Jeannie Francis was really young when she came to the show. So
Hmm.
then she was living with the Vinings. That's where we get Amy from. Like Amy's her
Right.
adopted sister. So like this was kind of tough because Laura was like a wild child when she came on. And she did end up murdering someone. And like it was a whole thing. She was on probation when she met Luke. Like she's
Yeah.
it's crazy. But I don't know. I mean, it was interesting to me to see like how she was talking about how Leslie was basically trying to force her way into Laura's life, and Laura didn't know how to understand what was happening because she
Yeah.
was a teenager. I love the way they did this because we don't talk about Laura's origin that often. We talk about her and Luke, and we talk about her coma, and this was like early on. This is in the end of the 70s.
Hmm.
That's how long ago all of this happened. I do wish they had mentioned Amy. I wish it would have been like, when I got a sister out of it.
Right. Yeah.
Because one of the things that happens is when Laura goes to live with Rick and Leslie, Amy comes eventually just comes on. Like she leaves the Vinings and she just comes on to stay with them. And they basically took her in like she was another kid.
Yeah.
And she just lived with them. So like Amy and Laura have been kind of like inseparable since
Hmm.
they were little kids. I love Amy.
Yeah. But I thought Jeannie Francis did a phenomenal job on those scenes, and she was amazing.
She was really incredible. First in the scenes and like discussing the history of literally her backstory.
Hmm.
Like we don't hear that. I love the historian was really working overtime. They probably could have
Yeah.
just asked Jeannie to like be like what happened in the beginning. But it's funny you forget that she was adopted. You forget about all of that because
Hmm.
she goes back to her birth mother and she and Leslie have a wonderful relationship, but it was really rocky in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I thought it was really sweet and it was Jeannie Francis killed it. Like she was
Hmm.
amazing. And I
Hmm.
also like that Laura clocked that there was more to this conversation than just asking about her past. Like
Yeah.
she looked at Lulu and she's like, "What's this really about?"
Yeah.
Perfect writing for that. I thought that scene was really well done. The history was spot on, but I mean,
Yeah.
you have the original, like you have Laura standing there, so
So Lulu tells Laura that there is more to it, and that she knows about a child that was given up for adoption, but not all parties are aware. Lulu tells her mom it's not her secret to tell, which it is not.
mm-mm.
Um, Laura tells her not to play God with someone else's life. And I that was also an incredible scene as well.
She was like, "I'm sorry, honey,
Yes,
but you don't have the right to do this."
yeah,
And like once you do it, you assume the fallout for everything that happens after it. It will then be your responsibility. And who are you to second guess what the
yeah,
mother was doing and why she did it? Like it's not your
yeah.
place.
It's not your
And
place.
she really was upset that she had to disagree with her.
Hmm.
But come on, Lulu, you don't have the right to like come in and rewrite history and call Brooklyn a villain because a scared kid gave a baby up for adoption.
Yeah, yeah. This is where like Lulu troubles me. I don't know why she
Well,
doesn't get
this
that.
is why you have the abortion and you don't give the kid up for adoption, don't
Yeah,
have a kid. Um, no, have the kid. People want,
yeah,
you know. But it's just a scenario where it's like all of this is happening is because she made the choice for life instead of deciding that she was going to have an abortion. Neither decision is an incorrect one. And for Lulu to come back and relitigate it is just ridiculous to me. It's only because it's Dante's kid. Otherwise, she would not care.
yeah. So Tracy is really happy about the video of Drew. She's singing Lulu's praises. She's saying she sent her flowers. And Brooklyn overhears this, and she is not happy. And Brooklyn does not. And Tracy is continues to compliment Lulu, and it pisses Brooklyn off, so she leaves. Uh, Brooklyn leaves, and then she confides in Chase, who suggests they tell Dante the truth. Brooklyn says that's not a great idea. Chase decides he's going to go confront Lulu and can tell her to back off his wife. So meanwhile, Gio and Tracy talk about Drew. Gio tells her that Jason said that Shani shot AJ to save Ava's life, which is not true.
True. Watch the footage. It's available.
Yeah, it's not true. Meanwhile, Dante yells at Danny and Rocco for leaving a mess at the boathouse, and they need to go clean up or they won't be able to go to the game that they're going to be going to.
Woodchucks. The woodchucks. Which they
Woodchuck.
used to go to all the time with Sam.
Okay. So the boys leave, and Chase arrives and tells Dante to tell Lulu to back off his wife. Dante tells Chase he is making a big deal out of nothing. Brooklyn and Lulu have always been like this, but it'll work out. Lulu arrives home just as Chase asks Dante to tell Lulu to talk to Lulu about this. Meanwhile, Brooklyn apologizes to Tracy because she doesn't understand why Brooklyn is so threatened by Lulu. She says, I don't care that she knows I was pregnant in high school. I care that she knows that I gave a baby up for adoption and is trying to blow up my life. And
Yeah. She just dumps
Breaks it
everything in
out.
Tracy's lap with no warning. She just snapped. She is
I was
not going to be able to hold
surprised.
it.
I was shocked that she said that.
I think more and more people are finding out. And the truth is, Brooklyn needs support and she needs opinions from women she trusts. So
Yeah,
the thing is, talking to Chase is not the same as talking to another woman. As much as he is awesome and wonderful about it, I don't think
mhm,
he can really understand this scenario that she was in, and when you would
yeah,
need to talk to another woman about it. And even with like Lulu had an abortion, she chose one option. Brooklyn had the baby, she chose a different option. Like, but neither option was incorrect for the girl in question. And
yeah,
it just seems to me that like she's looking for validation from women she trusts.
yeah,
And she loves her grandmother. And I think deep down she felt hugely guilty about not telling Ned about any of this. Ned doesn't know anything.
no,
And she tells Tracy all about it. And Tracy's like, yeah, it's your secret. And Ned doesn't need to know. Like, your father doesn't need to know if you don't want to tell him. I didn't need to know if you didn't want to tell me, but I'm glad you did.
yeah,
And like, who would not think a high powered woman like Tracy, who's dealt with sexism her entire life, most of it coming from her father,
hmm,
would be against what Brooklyn did? She calls her brave and she's grateful to be confided in.
and Jane Elliott, amazing
Kills it,
in
kills
this
it.
scene. Oh my god, the look on her face when
Mhm.
Brooklyn told her that she had a baby was just like amazing.
She
Oh,
was devastated because she
was
she loves Brooklyn, and this is a huge secret that Brooklyn's been carrying by herself. And It's weird, that it would have been cool at the time if, like, because this is all retcons, but like she may have, like, Lois
Mhm.
might have gone to Tracy. I don't see that happening because they didn't really have that close of a relationship.
Yeah.
Tracy's hard. She's a tough one.
Yeah.
But she loves her family. She
He
really does.
does, and it was so sweet.
It was great.
Yeah, so amazing, and I love Tracy more and more every week. I really do. I always have liked Tracy though, but
I have loved Tracy since she tried to kill her own father. Very funny scene. It is also on the internet. Check it out.
yeah. All right, so Rockland and Danny clean up the boathouse, and Danny tells Rockland that he's going to go to the PCU bonfire. Dante cancels their plans to go to the game, so Danny tells them that this is a great opportunity for them to go.
Yeah, their parents are occupied so they can sneak away to this bonfire party. First one of this season because it's finally spring.
Yeah, okay, and we'll get into Friday's episode now. So we have Lois, Lucy, and Maxie talking about the nursing ball. Lucy mentions that she disinvited Drew, and Lois and Maxie don't think that's a good idea since Drew donated.
She's like, yeah, but what if there's a huge scene with like Carly and Willow and
Mhm.
and Drew and Maxie's like, you cause more of the big scenes at the nurses' ball than any other person in town. And she's like, that's not true. And then she pauses and she's like, that can't be true.
Yeah. So Lucy leaves, and then Lois asks Maxie about Brooklyn, how she's doing. She thinks she's going through something, and Maxie says, "Well, there's really, that's really between something for her to figure out. Like, I can't, I don't really know."
So what? Yeah, everybody is talking to Maxie because Maxie is like one of Brooklyn's best friends.
Yeah,
But like Brooklyn can't confide in Maxie because Maxie is also Lulu's best friend.
right, exactly.
So she doesn't know anything.
So that brings us to where Brooklyn gives her an ultimatum and says, "You need to choose between me and Lulu," which I don't think is fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair. And I don't think Maxie should do it because Brooklyn
Yeah.
is just like, I can't, and she's right. I can't confide in you if Lulu is your friend because that puts her in the
Hmm.
position of choosing sides anyway if she finds the information out. And Brooklyn is frustrated and tired of Lulu, and I think that's why she gave the ultimatum. It was rude. She shouldn't have done it.
No, I agree. We did talk about Brooklyn and Tracy's confrontation, which not confrontation, but their moment, which was really awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I love when Tracy also said Lulu's like her dad, but she doesn't mean any harm. But
That she's stupid, and like no. What did she say? She was that he was often wrong,
often
stubborn,
wrong. Yeah, stubborn and
stubborn,
often wrong.
self-righteous, and often wrong.
Yeah, which
And
she
I like that.
was.
That was the most accurate description of Luke I've heard in a long time.
Yeah. So Lois comes in the room and Tracy says there's only one thing she wants to know. She wants to know where her great grandson is. Oh man,
Yeah.
Lois is going to be squirming on this one.
This is unraveling quickly now.
Yeah. So let's talk about Dante and Lulu. Dante and Lulu talk at her new house that I don't know how she can afford, but okay.
With what money?
So I wonder if she sold her house to Maxie, or
Did they like have this is what I'm thinking, right? Like I think Maxie was renting the house
yeah,
and maybe Dante was putting the money in an account for Rocco
Lulu or
and
Rocco.
Charlotte. Well, Lulu was dead.
That's true.
So he was probably putting the money away for the kids because it was Lulu's house and now she's probably living off that money, or maybe Kevin and
Mhm.
Laura are bankrolling, and I don't think she owns the house. She cannot possibly own a house in this market when you've been in a coma for 4 years. So I'm assuming she's renting it.
Her credit score must be really bad.
Your credit score is 2. And she's like, oh no.
Right? Okay. So um, Dante asked Lulu to back off of the story. Lulu says she's not going to do that. She's a journalist, and she doesn't feel that she'd be able to write about whatever she wants.
She convinces herself that the story is important, and she
Yeah.
basically like downplays what Brooklyn and Chase are saying. I kind of agree with her. I know she did do it initially to needle and to like investigate, but as a journalist, she can't just drop a story because somebody else feels a certain kind of way about it. Now, I mean, I think she's disingenuous with that explanation.
Absolutely.
But
Her
the conversation is
much,
effective, though.
her motives are not pure in this.
No, absolutely not. Laura knew that.
Yeah.
Like if your mother looks at you and goes, "Okay, now why are you really doing it?" Like you're not going to get away with that with your ex-husband. He also knows who you are and what you're like.
Right.
And she keeps falling back on this. I pitched 3 different stories. Well, I'm assuming the blurbs for the other 2 weren't that good, and this was the only one that was sparkling prose because they went for it. So come on, you had something to do with that.
Right.
This is not random chance. You chose the topic.
Right. So Dante admits that he knows that Lulu's still in love with him. They talk about that night at the Floating Rib where Lulu was going to tell Dante the truth and break up with Dustin. And she figures out that Maxie was the one. Actually, he told her, I think, that Maxie was.
Yeah, he was confused about their relationship. He went to talk to Maxie, and Maxie told him the truth.
But the shocker was that Dante admits that he's still in love with Lulu as well. He's also in love with Sam. So I didn't expect that. I didn't think
I did not expect that. I mean, I know he is. It's obvious from the way he behaves and defends her. But at the same time, I didn't think he was ready to admit anything like that. I hope they don't start a relationship or anything because he is not healed from the death of Sam.
No.
It would be too soon and it would be ruinous. But I know it's a soap, so things move quickly. So we'll see.
They do.
It was shocking, though. Like, they had this very productive conversation. They're going back and forth. They're laying cards out on the table. And you're like, okay, they're done. They've gotten to the part where Lulu says she's not jealous of Brooklyn. She's actually jealous of Sam. Because Sam was living the life she wanted. And then Sam died to save her. So she's in this really complicated situation. And he's like, yeah, I'm still in love with you. And I'm like, whoa.
I was not expecting that. I was like, what?
Unprepared.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about Drew and Willow. Drew and Willow go to GH, and he wants to get his blood tested for drugs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, Isaiah tells him he had ketamine in his system. Willow believes him, that he was drugged, and she kisses him on the cheek. And so, yeah, that's all.
So my love of John J. York is so high. Like, I love Max Scorpio so much that when they were having that whole discussion, all I kept thinking was, hey, is that Mac and Felicia in the background? Look, Mac.
Yes.
And then he finally goes over and talks to Mac. I'm like, oh, that's why Mac's here today. But I'm like, oh, Mac. Yeah. I was so totally focused on John J. York. I was like, yay.
Well, my favorite tells Mac that he needs to report a crime, and he shows him the test results.
And Mac's like, hey, ketamine's a recreational drug. You sure you didn't just take more than you could handle? And I was like, thank you, Mac.
Right.
This isn't going to go anywhere.
Meanwhile, Carly goes to see Nina, and she's like, is this you?
Exciting.
It was so fun.
I love Carly so much. She was just gleeful. And then, as they're going through the story, Carly goes, yeah, but Drew's why didn't you use ketamine? They can test that in the system. Why didn't you use something, I guess, GHB or something?
This playing out. Carly should have helped her and not Portia, because Carly would have...
Well, the reason she went with Portia is because she wanted a medical grade drug. She didn't want to kill him. She just wanted to drug him.
Yeah. But
could they have not gotten the same results with some Molly?
So here's my question. Why didn't Nina knew that Drew and Willow were on their way to GH? Why didn't you call Portia and tell her to change the results? I don't get that.
I don't think Portia would do that again. And especially since they went to Isaiah to get the results, because they picked a doctor that's not really involved in their storyline. So that he would have no reason to fake results. Also, I don't know. They thought ketamine, party drug, so they would think he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
There's no way to prove he didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. All right, well, back to Carly. Carly recognizes Jacinda from the Metro Court, and she
seems to admire her work. Did you notice that?
She did. Mm-hmm.
She's like, I've seen her. She worked at the Metro Court. And it's like, you didn't kick her out. Normally, you could kick hookers out of the lobby at fancy hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Carly went by because her mom used to be like a hooker and just went by and be like, get that bag, and then kept going on with her storyline.
Oh my god.
She
So
just
funny.
ignores them.
So Nina feels bad about what she did, and Carly tells her I know that must have been hard, but you did what you thought was right. And they're talking about the whole situation, and then Willow overhears the truth. So
Kill me.
yeah,
I wanted this so bad, and like they ruined it. We didn't even get to enjoy it for a full weekend.
we really did it, and it was sad.
She's I don't understand her. I did love the conversation with Amy. That was really funny. That was the first time Amy acted like the original Amy, when she was just like, hey, here's this thing that's happening. And don't you think you should not date that guy because he sucks? And she was just like, mind your own business, Amy. I was like, oop.
Yeah,
It was funny. I really did.
it
like
was
the way
pretty
it was
funny.
done.
Yeah.
It was cute.
All right, so now, last but not least, we'll talk about the bonfire. So we have Vaughn is there, shirtless, and he does
Do
look
you
good.
feel
I'm not gonna
you just
lie.
want to say there's a storyline happening? And Vaughn was there.
Yeah,
Look, he's a handsome guy. I'm sure you
yeah,
enjoyed his shirtless scenes. I
I
don't care
did.
because I don't like Vaughn. So
You're just like fuck him.
to be honest with you, I'd rather Mac was there, but he's not going to
Oh,
be at a
I would
college
take Mac
party.
over Vaughn. Are you kidding? All right, so Vaughn's there, and he convinces Emma and Gio to go in the water. This is really cold right now, and he says it's good for like the immune system or something. I forget what he
Yeah,
said.
cold plunges are supposed to be good for you, but I
Yeah.
hate the cold, so I can't really vote in favor of that.
So he talks to Emma and Gio into it. They strip down in their undies and they go in the water. So this gives Jocelyn the opportunity to steal the flash drive. Emma checks their pocket to make sure it's still there before she goes in the water.
Stupid. Why did you take that to the beach? Why is this happening?
Yeah, why didn't you just go home first and leave
Why
it?
wasn't it backed up on her laptop too? Like,
Yeah, it's there's so many things. I'm just like, what?
it's a modern world. It would have been on the thumb drive. It would have been on the cloud. It would have been on her computer, and she would have backed it up probably to her Google Docs before she did
Right.
anything.
That's what I'm saying. This doesn't make sense.
Even I have 12 versions of every novel I'm working on. Like, they're everywhere, just in case.
Right. You can never be too careful.
Nobody would do a project that important and not have backups.
Yeah, it's like okay, so I feel like sometimes it's the 2000s and they forget it's 2025.
Yeah, as someone who worked on computers in the 2000s, you always had backups. You had double the backups back then. You would have had that thumb drive, and you would have had 2 more thumb drives. Then you would have had it on your laptop, and then you would have had it on your other computer at home. You would have burned it to a CD, because you would have been paranoid.
Right. Yeah.
Because hard drives used to just corrupt, and just that was it.
All right. So Jocelyn has to figure out how to switch the flash drive that Emma has with the corrupted flash drive. So we'll see.
She takes it, she copies it,
Right.
she corrupts it, she returns it.
Yes.
So she has to do all of that in 2 whole minutes. I'm not really sure how that works because we didn't see any of Jocelyn's training, so I don't know. I mean, she could have just got one that looked exactly like it and ran a magnet over it. That would have done it.
Yeah.
It's empty. What happened?
Right. Okay, so then we have Danny and Rocco sneaking in to the bonfire. They're not students at PCU, but I guess they can pass as freshmen, as they say they're freshmen.
You can't tell. Some freshmen look like they're 12, and other freshmen look like they're 35. And the way colleges work these days, there's a lot of age ranges. So, I mean, just because they look puppyish, they're boys. They always do kind of look a little young at that age. So they didn't even, and also these are drunk college kids. You walk up and say, beer me, and they're going to. Like, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
Where's your card, young man?
Right. So they both get drinks. I think it's some kind of punch. I forget what they said it was.
They called it grog.
Is that what they called it? Okay.
Yeah, they called it grog, which is funny because that's like what pirates drink. But it was like probably a punch with Everclear if I know my colleges.
I would think so.
Yeah, it's like Kool-Aid with Everclear or pink lemonade with Everclear. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it was not, So Danny's like, just hold it. You don't have to drink it.
Why didn't they just have the drink be in a trash can so it was like more true to life?
Yeah. So they meet these two girls. Rocco's kind of shy, so he starts drinking to, be a
Liquid
little more
courage.
extroverted because he's an introvert extrovert. So he said, which is kind of funny. He's like, which is an introvert, extrovert, extrovert, introvert.
And the girl's like, what?
What are you talking about? It was
It
funny.
was delightfully awkward.
It was, yeah. So Rocco is passed out on the beach, and I guess he drank too much.
When Danny went to play volleyball with the girls,
Oh, that's right.
Rocco wanted to go home. Like
Yes.
he's like, it's getting dark. I want to go. That was a theme because Lucy also said that. She's like, it's getting dark. I got to get out of here. And everybody's like, wait, what? And she's like, it's so dark. I have to go. And
Yeah.
she just started picking up all her stuff and leaving. It was very
Mhm.
funny. And then Rocco was like, Rocco's not the type of person to go to a party like this. This is more Danny's scene. So he
Yeah.
wants to go home and Danny wants to play volleyball. And Rocco, he goes, Rocco, why don't you come with me and play volleyball? And the girl says the ball glows in the dark. I guess she didn't.
Oh, yeah.
She was kind of ditzy and I really enjoyed her. She
Like
was
it
cute.
too. Mhm.
And he's like, no, it's okay. Go ahead and play volleyball and I'll stay here. And then a bunch of guys invited Rocco, who's probably never drank anything before in his life and is now drinking Everclear, to
Right?
play beer pong.
Oh, yeah.
So he
Mhm.
went to play beer pong with college students who drink as a profession. And then he passed out on the beach and now he's unconscious on the beach. And I hope this is not the start of an alcoholic storyline, but it might be.
Yeah. I think
Rocco needs an outlet.
he's
He's
gonna
been
OD.
suffering.
I mean, he's definitely gonna OD, and
He's not gonna OD. He's gonna need his stomach pumped though.
that's what I mean. I don't mean he's not gonna die, but he's gonna overdose on alcohol.
He already did. He drank two
Yeah.
because when Danny left, he handed another cup of, and I'm just gonna assume this is Everclear and Kool-Aid, but that's what it seems like it would be, is some kind
Yeah.
of juice mixed with the hardest, cheapest grain alcohol you can find. It could be it's gonna be cheap vodka. And so he drank probably his body weight in alcohol, and he's gonna either wake up with the worst hangover in the world, no memory of what happened, or he's
Mhm.
gonna have to have his stomach pumped,
Yeah.
which sucks because like he's the one who didn't even want to go, and he's gonna get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for
Poor
him. I did like that Danny and Jocelyn saw each other and they both looked at each other and went, "We were never
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we never saw each other.
We never saw each other. We were never here."
Yeah, that was good. That was really
One's like, "Is he going to be a problem?" And she's like, "No, he's not
No.
going to want his parents to know he was here."
Yeah, exactly.
That was such a very family-oriented moment. Like if you saw your cousin or your brother or something out, and you're just like, "Mm-mm."
So wait, how are they related? Are they related, Jocelyn and Danny?
They are
I don't think they are.
technically not real. They're not related,
Yeah.
but they have grown up as cousins.
Yeah. Okay.
And also because Carly and Jason are so close, they're just honorary family members.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Because Michael would be related, but not
Michael's
Jocelyn.
related to him. Yes. Mhm. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I'm gonna go back to the conversation with Lucy just because I love her and I like every moment she does is great. But one of the things she did when she was talking about Carly was relate Carly to Bobby. And
Mhm.
it was really a very natural moment for Lucy where because Bobby gives her a hard time at the nurses' ball every year. She did. So then
Mhm.
can't we have Carly like locked in a closet somewhere so she would leave us alone? Because she
Yeah.
is Bobby's daughter. And then they pause because they all remember that, Bobby's not here anymore. And they're
Mhm.
all like, rest in peace, And then she's like, well, she is Bobby's daughter and she's going to cause a scene. And that's when they start talking about scenes. But I kind of like when they keep a character alive in memories because that's what happens in real life. You don't just stop talking about somebody because they died.
Mhm.
I do like that they're kind of putting Carly into the position that Bobby usually is in at the nurses' ball, which used to be Amy's position, where they would help Lucy get costumes changes, I have a feeling that's where Carly's going to be.
Yeah. Mhm.
Gonna be funny. I'm excited about the nurses' ball. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's only a couple weeks away.
I think we covered everything. There's a lot of like you should definitely watch. Obviously, you should not just be watching us. There's so much going on the show, and we just kind of like
Mhm.
we gloss over it. Every time a character comes up we don't like, I just go, eh. And then that guy was there. And then I just move
All right,
on.
well, I guess we'll head over to Patreon and we'll talk a little speculation, and we're gonna have a clip of the week to watch. So this week, the nominees are
Ooh,
Laura tells Lulu her life story.
love it.
Brooklyn tells Tracy she gave up a baby for adoption.
Love it.
And Drew out of control at the Savoy.
These are excellent choices for clip of the week. I think it was interesting. And the only reason we were talking about it being an up and down week, the only reason I would say it was an up and down week is because Drew's comeuppance doesn't feel like comeuppance at all. It
It's
feels
not.
like a minor blip.
I feel like it's coming later, so
And we'll talk about that behind the scenes where I use a lot more curse words, probably. But comment below. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. Talk to us. We talk back.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.